Hey guys, my name is Scott from Chegg Tutors, and I typically tutor subjects such as biology, chemistry, sociology, psychology, statistics, and physics. And today we're going to be going over a chemistry topic. And we're actually going to be going over molality. Now, for those of you who have taken a high school level chemistry class have probably heard of something like molarity, but molarity and molality are actually two very different things. It's important that we actually know and understand the differences between the two and when we're supposed to use the two, okay? So real quick, why don't we go ahead and go over molarity real quick. Now molarity is going to end up being the moles of our solute divided by the liters of our solution, okay? Moles over liters. And that's typically represented by a capital M, okay? Now, something like molality, on the other hand, molality, spelled very similar to molarity but just with an L. Molality, on the other hand, is actually going to be moles of our solute again, moles of solute, and then this time it's actually going to be divided by the mass of our solvent. Now the terms solute and solvent should be very familiar to you all. So in this case, like I said, it's going to be moles of your solute divided by moles of solvent. And in this case, the SI units for molality in this case are going to end up being moles divided by kilograms. So if we're going to be solving for molality, you want to make sure that obviously we find what our moles of our solute is going to end up being, and then finding out what our kilograms of our solvent is going to be. Okay. Now, obviously molarity and molality are two very different things because they have two very different SI units. Now, when exactly are we going to be using molality over molarity? So, in terms of using molality over molarity, right off the bat, we can kind of see the best thing when it comes to differentiating between the two is how both of the SI units are set up. So, for molarity, you'll see that it's moles divided by liters, okay? And then for molality, it's going to be moles divided by kilograms of solvent. So we can see here that this is at least the big difference between molarity and molality. So why exactly would we want to use molality over molarity? The big thing here in terms of using the molality over molarity is the difference of temperature. Now, for those of you who are familiar with any type of gas laws or any type of fluid laws, whenever temperature changes, that's going to end up affecting the volume. Okay, so whenever you increase temperature, whenever you decrease temperature, that subsequently affects the temperature. It subsequently affects the volume. Okay, so that being said, if we are calculating the molarity of a certain solution and it increases by a certain amount of temperature, or if it decreases by a certain amount of temperature, that's going to subsequently affect the liters in this case. Okay, so in that case, and it's gonna end up affecting the volume. So in this case, using the molarity isn't going to be our best option here. Now, however, for molality doesn't strictly depend on volume. Okay, molality just strictly depends on mass, and mass is not changing when it comes to temperature, right? So that being said, using something like molality would be much more beneficial to you as opposed to using molarity. Okay. Now, you'll also see molality in other different equations, and I'm going to be doing other subsequent videos in terms of when you actually use molality. But molality could be used in certain colligative property type equations, and this comes to things like freezing point depression, or boiling point elevation. Both of these two equations actually incorporate molality into their equations, and the reason for that is because there's actually going to be a temperature change involved. Okay, so because of the fact that there's that temperature change, we don't want to use molarity in this case. We want to end up using molality. Okay, so like I said, when it comes to certain colligative properties, you might end up seeing molality, and I'm sure that there's many different types of chemical equations that incorporate molality versus molarity. If you have any questions for me, then feel free to send me a message on my personal Chegg page. You can see that I've linked it there on the whiteboard. If you have any other questions in regards to biology, chemistry, psychology, sociology, statistics, or physics, then you can also send me a message there. All right, guys, have a great day.